and welcome to another edition of Worlds Tonight. I'm Sjokz supporter, and joining me to recap Day 3 of the 2016 Worlds Group Stage are James Stress O'Leary and David Phreak Turley. Good evening, gentlemen. It was crazy today, again.
It was absolutely crazy today. Almost all the games that got played today could have gone to either of the teams. Very, very few stomps. Super close games.
So much action. Let's go right into it because there were some crazy, crazy games.
Yeah, definitely. We saw groups A, B, and D in action today, and the World's Wild Ride continued. Another handful of upsets, a broken record, and a 70-minute game. Oh my, there we see all of them, and there's a couple of them we're going to dive deeper into. SKT, they picked up another decisive win, and C9 also got on the board, but it was close.
That was that crazy 70-minute game. The turnaround right when it looked to be a little tense. We'll get to that, I'm sure, a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it all started with Game 1 when the LCL's Albus Nox Luna took down North America's CLG to start the day. CLG should have been heavily favored, but then it happened.
But the story is the gap is closing among the middle to bottom tier teams here at Worlds. Forget the word wild card. The LCL have a strong team here in Albus Nox Luna. This was a very close game. There were strategic moves back and forth that Albus Nox outplayed.
I think it was very important also to look at ANX pulling off a fairly difficult composition. The poke you would expect to see out of, fairly strategic teams, pulling it off really well against CLG.
Yeah, fantastic win for them, ANX, and the surprise didn't stop there. G2 and the Rocks Tigers got back on the rift for the first time since day 1, and G2 put up a good fight, a great fight, I should say.
Oh, it looked so great for Europe and G2 early on in this game. Great, engages you sort of expect there, but it just wasn't quite enough. Rocks Tigers, if any team can hold on from that, it certainly is. Man, this play from Smeb.
Exactly. The clip ago was a Baron steal that was game-saving. If G2 secures the Baron, Peanut said in an interview, they would have lost the game, Rocks would have, and then this pursuing team fight afterwards. A comeback win for Rocks Tigers.
Heartbreaking. I don't know what's worse, losing, getting stomped, or losing and knowing that you almost had it. We'll see for G2 how it turns out, but we also saw the second longest game in Worlds history following that. The Flash Wolves and Cloud9, they went back-to-back 70-minute slugfest, and C9 eventually did it.
Another incredibly close game. This one, though, was Flash Wolves doing so well for most of the game, and then Cloud9 finally getting some openings. Impact here getting the snipe out of Maple. There were enough squishies that C9 could assassinate them.
And Impact had so much presence coming in from the side of all of these fights, just getting himself involved in. Eventually the flanks came out from Meteos. You saw a couple. There was the first that really set this game up for C9 on this massive comeback, and you're going to see another out of nowhere, out of the Flash Wolves' own base here to end up taking the game for C9. Really good end of the performance for C9 when you look at today's games up against the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, they absolutely needed that win, even though they were not extremely happy with it, but a win is a win, and they needed it. And then that last game of the day to close it all out, Samsung Galaxy, they handed the LPL's Royal Never Give Up their first loss of the tournament.
RNG were looking so strong. Samsung, they sub in Core JJ, and along with the rest of the team, is able to take down the leaders in Group D. You can see the Skarner composition with the Rise as well. So much there to be able to take out RNG, and it wasn't quite the same performance as yesterday from the Chinese team.
And I gotta say, though, you've got to hand it to Ambition here, the jungler who waited so long to get to Worlds, played amazing on the Skarner, player of the game for sure.
Yeah, with that Trinity Force Skarner bringing it home, taking a look at the standings after 3 days of competition. 2 undefeated teams left on the board, the Rocks Tigers in Group A, and then SK Telecom on top of Group B. My pickings are not going to come through. Cloud9 will probably not top that group, but we'll see what happens. And then Group C is tied, and they get back on the rift tomorrow.
Right, so many ties for spots to get out of the group stage. It's really anyone's to still pull in. There's several rematches still to go.
Yeah, definitely. Group D is on its head. Group B is looking quite decisive, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll complete the first round robin of the group stage, starting with AHQ versus INTZ, and then China's #1 EDG will face off against Europe H2K. And G2 will look for their first win as they take on Albus Nox Luna, and then it is North America CLG versus the Rocks Tigers. Rather, a very interesting day of games to close everything out before heading into the next week.
Gotta agree, there are a lot of really important matches. We know the fact these upsets can still happen. It's a lot of very close teams.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Now we're going to take a closer look at today's games, including TSM's comeback win versus Splice. So if you are watching in client, be sure to check out youtube.com/LOLesports for the full-length version of Worlds Tonight.